coming in, Nico was left up because we had a lot of focus on some solo lane bans alongside some of the very prominent support and jungle bans. So BLG locking this one in, and you know, I was on hiatus. I still remember that Yagao clip with Nico.
Yep.
As Weibo on the opposite side will pick up the Jace and the Maokai. So a much different flavor of draft already coming in from both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, for BLG, we've already seen Yagao play this 5 times. Has a 100% win rate. He has not lost a game with this champion, so Yagao very, very comfortable with it. And I love what they're doing right now. Build up the Venn diagram of death.
Wow.
Get yourself some more dive buddies. Get yourself some more engage. Because in that last game, when they just had the more, you know, kind of bog standard engage, it felt like they were far more comfortable. And now TheShy whipping out the cannon in that top side. And we're going to see a lot of top lane bans coming out here.
Yeah, we definitely are, man. I was going to say, you know, all BLG need now is like Kennen and Samira, and they have the literal, you know, Exodia Venn diagram comp. But they all have that one snatched away. So let's see what Weibo look to ban. Now that they've got the Kennen locked in, like you mentioned, it has to be bin champions more likely than not. It could look towards something like the Cassante, though of course Kennen can have a pretty okay time into it. Malphite makes a whole bunch of sense, of course, as an answer. When you're running Jace, you'll likely have an immobile AD carry here, and you've got Kennen in the top side. It kind of is just 3 birds with 1 stone, so I like that Weibo are thinking about this one on BLG. You don't necessarily want to ban AD carries because you don't have any yourself, so likely just looking towards supports here. First off the Nautilus, and then you can probably think about another engaged support here as well on top of that one for BLG.
Wait to see where they want to go. I would be surprised to see the Gwen not banned here. I feel like Gwen would just do so much to just mitigate it. No, they're going to go for the Nars, so maybe we still see a Gwen coming out here for BLG. Would put them very damage focused, of course. Would mean that they were in a bit of a sticky situation in that regard, but I feel like if you're able to kind of get the mist off and drop, you know, kind of hide behind the Gwen for when the roots come out, the nature's grasp from the Maokai can definitely be a lot more powerful. But we'll see. No Xayah banned away or picked for Weibo for the moment. So they want to try and pick that one away or go for the Aphelios and maybe go for a Varus Heimerdinger. So this is very telegraphed. They're saying, look, we're not going to let you guys scale. We're not going to go for the scaling. We want to go for a full fights in this bot side.
Okay, this could be really, really fun actually. So not only do you obviously call out the Varus and the Heimerdinger, but we've also started to see, you know, those hybrid builds come out from the Varuses in the bottom side, where it's like, you know, static shift / AP and kind of mixed damage. So we'll see, because right now Weibo are running like a bunch of poke and then, you know, a Kennen. So
yeah,
I like where BLG are potentially going with that hover. I want the Ornn here. I think you need an over-the-top, overhead, non-committal form of engage, so that if it looks good, you can just send Shun and Rakan in. I feel like picks like the Scion here and the Cassante kind of pale in comparison, because you need to be able to get on top of these targets who are going to be playing at range. It's still going to be relatively fine in lane, right? And if you can find those windows to engage, great. But I feel like if you go all out, you dive into Heimerdinger Varus, you're just asking to get one shot here. So let's see how BLG and how Bin plays out this Cassante, because Weibo have a bunch of poke and a bunch of, we are just going to try and take control of an area and send projectiles your way. And if you come into our zone, we will try and we will effectively just one-shot you with all of the CC that we have.
And there's the Heimerdinger. It's kind of part and parcel now. The Varus Heimerdinger, very prominent at the start of this split, has been coming back a little bit. And now we start to see where this team, you know, where it kind of lands itself. And it does feel like it does have a place. However, if you do get caught out early, if you do not get the dominance that you need in this bot lane as early as you need it, that's when this poke starts to become a little less, you know, oppressive. Poke always looks completely broken when it gets ahead, but looks pales, as you said, in comparison to most other forms of DPS once you get later onto the game, and if you're not finding yourself 3, 4, 5,000 gold ahead. We'll have to wait and see how both these teams want to go for. We'll see if TheShy is a static Shiv user on the Kennen or not. And we'll also see if Bilibili can continue their kind of dominance over the rest of the LPL. They may lose to JDG, but if they don't lose to anybody else, they are still a scary damn team coming into this season. We have to wait to see now. We're all leaving everything on the riff for these two sides. Both desperate to keep their wins going. Both desperate to try and put themselves in better standing towards the end of the split.
Yeah, absolutely. Standing is everything. I like that you mentioned for BLG that story. It's such an interesting one from a team that, for many of us, I feel like were potentially going to fail the, you know, the over-the-top expectations that I suppose were set for them, but they blew them out of the water a little bit more than that. And they want to continue the streak up towards the top of the table, moving towards the end of summer, and Weibo, they want to try and keep up with this race to begin with. as we move into the final game of the series, 9th game of the day. We move on to tomorrow's games.
Said through gritted teeth.
No, look, man.
You knew
right?
the consequences of your actions.
Look, as soon as I heard that the LPL was starting on the 29th, and I knew I wasn't going to be here for 3 weeks, I just said, I'm in for a beating when I get back. And this is karma, and that's okay.
Yep.
You know, sometimes you just have to deal. And I feel like BLG are going to have to deal with a bunch of poke this game for Weibo. As long as they are able to move into objectives first, this is going to be a difficult game for BLG. So that's going to be the first big, hurdle for me that BLG are going to have to hop over, is trying to ensure that they try and cut off as much access to the river whenever these objectives are spawning up as possible. Otherwise, you're dealing with saplings, you're dealing with accelerated shock blasts, chains of corruption, everything basically on the side of Weibo short of the Kennen kit. And even then, you still have to worry about Kennen just flashing over a random wall and one-shotting your backline.
Well, plenty of turrets in the bot side here, but with the Calibrum, should be easy enough to clear out a few of them. Maybe nothing else too exceptional after the fact, but this is the power of the Heimerdinger. This is why we saw it for such a long time, and we all hated it because can't really do much against it level 1, and you just have to accept that you're just taking free harassment.
Yeah, one thing that teams used to do, level 1, send the entire team bot, stop the Heimerdinger from setting up those towers, but... I guess BLG maybe a little bit absent-minded, forgetting about the pick and some of the strengths, unfortunately. So Crisp will just take full control here. And again, one of those very irritating things, you send those rockets out at the widest possible, angle, you always get, at the very least, a little bit of chip damage, you generate gold. So this is going to be a miserable lane for Elkanon that Shun isn't even pathing to. And I can't blame him. Like, he wants to just be away from that lane. The only thing is, pathing away from it does mean that you open it up to potentially being dove. If it gets poked out really, really low, then maybe it angles out for weiwei to, make a visit and put down even more poke, eventually look for a dive.
And Shun moving in towards the top side. I like this move as well because his bot lane just cleared a ward, which would indicate that he's potentially in that bot lane. They're trying to maybe set up something for a vision, but he's actually trying to double bluff them a little bit. They're going to wait for the third level 3 comes in. Shun now moving forward in with TheShy, who does have a lightning rush. Does get slowed down just a little bit. Probably going to have to lose his flash here as a flash from Bin. Maybe going to be enough. A bonk on the head and first blood from Shun. The Wukong's just too damn strong, and that's a really nice swap of pace here from BLG.
Yeah, I just feel like for Weibo, TheShy was just not expecting, a 3-camp gank on the top side of the map. So Shun just catches him off guard with that, and like you say, good pace to set for the early game here for BLG. I feel like they really do want to push the envelope here and really try and get some lane leads, right? Ahead of anything else, specifically through the solo lanes, because I don't think it's going to be happening down here on the bottom side of the map. They need to look for those aggressive movements. Otherwise, I feel like if Weibo start to slowly take control of this game, right? Lane priority, all of that good stuff into objective control, for BLG, they are just going to have to try their best to force through all of this irritating poke. And sometimes that will just be a little bit too much to bear.
Just a little bit too much. I'll have a look at the replay here. And look, I think honestly, once the red buff kind of gets procced here a little bit, it just feels like TheShy doesn't have a chance to get out. Once he knows that the flash is gone, the red buff's just going to keep slowing him.
Yeah, exactly. And Shun just has such a good angle coming in as well. The fact that TheShy was where he was, like you mentioned, the red buff slow is just enough for a very long run down, and a flash is all that's necessary to follow up on the play itself. So a little bit of extra gold in Shun's back pocket as Xiaohu, man oh man, meaty trade. Hasn't gone back to base yet, so probably won't mind. Should have enough gold for a plethora of different items as... Oh my... I've never seen a Nico do that, but that makes so much sense, and it's also so obnoxious because now he's going to stop the next ace. Ooh,
not quite, but
not quite.
It's a couple of minions dead. That's the big problem now. It's I mean, this is a thing that kind of comes up with Nico. I feel like, yes, Nico was kind of busted. It feels like it needs to be banned by everybody. But I feel like in terms of premier Nico players, Yagao is right up there. Has really made a name for himself on this champion. Just being creative, coming in with the tech and knowing how to play this champion just so perfectly to exploit things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yagao is a player, right? This year, I suppose, in part, was kind of a soft redemption arc for him, right? Coming off the back of the JDG split. And I feel like for many LPL fans coming out of last year, JDG were like, you know, expected to go a lot further than they ended up going at Worlds. So moving on to BLG to then internationally perform really, really well. Just unfortunately, not as well as JDG. We're still looking to overcome that hurdle, but has domestically now again just continued to really dominate so many laners here in LPL. And for many, I suppose, continues to be your GOAT, as it were.
The Yagao.
Your GOAT.
Yagao, and a name for TheShy that I don't think I can say on broadcast, but so look, you are such a TheShy hater, but I am, man. I am, because it's just do you know what it is? You know what? Do you know why it is? And it happens with everyone who's popular. It's happening with Max Verstappen right now in the Formula One. Sometimes it's not about the actual player; it's about the fans. And if the fans are just so in your face about it, like they're just like, no matter what happens, this thing always never over. But that guy's dead.
That guy's
Yep.
dead.
Don't know. I don't know why on flashed, but now we're gonna see TheShy going back in. It's been a long day for you.
Not only has it been a long day for me, we were both so on the same page. Yep, that guy's dead.
Yeah, that guy's dead.
That
guy's dead. Anyway, back in, undied, lost flash, and now we can see this dragon being taken.
All right, let's see if Shun can win the 50-50. Elk has pretty poor. Well, he's got not a lot of ammo left in Graviton. Maybe he can swap over in time, but Shun was just not in position to go for the steal.
Oh, weiwei.
Yeah, so that looks funky to us, for clarity. But obviously, Nico pressed W, and there's obviously that brief half a second where Nico's invisible. But that doesn't really show to us in the spectator. So I know it looked like he flashed and did nothing, but he actually just couldn't see Yagao.
Yeah,
so he's not trolling.
It's not troll.
He's not troll.
It's not troll.
It's not troll.
Yeah. I agree. It is a little funky because we obviously have true vision. It's, again, you know, hindsight is 2020, and when you have God vision like us, it does end up looking a bit like, what? It's only that you actually can watch the pro views. I think they have 2 pro views per team. It's quite cool.
You don't need to flex that you got LASIK, all right? We get it. Okay, buddy.
You don't need to flex it. You didn't need it, all right? I had to buy the DLC for this, all right? You got it for free.
Yeah. But yeah, right. True sight does often make some interactions look really weird. For example, when Nico turns into a minion and then, you know, ults a champion in the mid lane, and you're like, wow, how could they not see that coming? They just can't, as Elk is pretty chunked out. I wonder if he's going to look to have to go back to base now. Does have 1 pot, but would probably prefer to not expend it. And I expect we'll just look for a reset relatively soon, as he does. And BLG on the opposite side of the map, looking to pick up this Herald. Weiwei is on this side of the map, has level 6, and so does TheShy. So I wonder if they're going to look for maybe a bit of a late contest. But with Xiaohu actually in base, looks like it just should be a free pickup here for BLG. I think Weibo kind of just, I would say, caught a little bit of sleep at the wheel, but also I think just in part, Yagao is slamming Xiaohu in the mid lane. He's up 20 CS at the minute.
Having a really, really good time of it. And I will say, you know, decent from BLG on the bot side to actually be relatively, you know, along the same lines in terms of power and the CS he's getting. And, oh, Elk got a little funky there with the minion pathing. So, unfortunately, misses out on that cannon. But, again, doing very well to kind of keep himself right up alongside it. You normally pick the Heimerdinger and the Varus, and you normally see about, like, you know, a 10, 15 CS lead. You kind of build up an item spike earlier because your items are a lot cheaper with the lethality build. But decent from the side of Elk to kind of keep going with that, doing very, very well for himself. And now, bit of a trade back at his top side. Bin might fancy himself here. The flash has to come out. And that is huge there because now Bin knows that's down. They could bring Shun right up here.
Yeah, absolutely can. I mean, TheShy, again, you know, going towards that stack shift build, it does mean that his ultimate isn't necessarily going to deal the most damage right now. So, you know, typically when you're diving a Kennen at this point in the game, you know, he's got a little bit of AP under his belt, maybe a little bit under 100, right? And, you know, that ultimate is kind of scary.
None from his items.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're really just dealing with the base damage and the CC. It's not really going to be a scary issue at all. BLG actually rotating their bot side up here. Shun is still in the bush, and like you said, with no flash, TheShy is definitely a very valuable target. Is On going to hit level 6 on this creep wave? Surely, being level 5, you'd think he would. And if he does, then this should be an easy dive.
It should be, but he's not quite level 6 just yet. Now they get the Cyclone down. They should have just enough damage, even the exhaust right at the end. Elk picks up that kill. Thank you very much. The ramping tower damage does do a fair bit at the end of it all, but that should just be more and more plates being funneled in here into the Cephalios.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, now level 6.
Oh, now he's level 6. I wonder if they'll look for weiwei. Yagao and Bin down here defending this bottom side tower. It does leave Xiaohu with a window in the mid lane to maybe strip away a play or two, so a lot of gold is being traded back and forth here, but for Elk, this is huge, right? Getting back so much gold that he's probably lost just by being in that 2v2 on the bottom side is going to feel really nice. In fact, he's actually ahead a little bit, more close to even right now with Light, so that gold injection feels great for BLG and for Elk.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference that we're looking at the moment is... I was just about to say, the biggest difference we're seeing at the moment is the jungle in the mid lane. That's where the gold lead is kind of situated here for BLG. They are making the most of it for the moment. This Nico is so oppressive as well. Just being able to... I think it's not only just the damage, but it's the fact that a lot of her kit just allows her to be able to kind of safely check things, be creative, you know, maybe make yourself a minion, throw out a decoy, throw out the... you know, the Pop Blossom as well. You know, loads of little things like that that you can... sorry, not the Pop Blossom, the Q. But it's, you know, little things like that that just mean that you're not going to catch her out, or very rarely are you going to be able to catch her out.
Yeah, I think the kind of broken one for me is the whole reset mechanic with the W, when you take a base, the clone also just takes a base, or something along those lines. I actually can't recall how you trigger the interaction.
It follows your actions, so it looks like you're throwing out a Q. It's a full bait, basically. On. On, buddy. My dude, my guy.
I'm gonna open the LPL Twitch chat, and I expect it to be filled with -1s.
Yeah,
and if it's
a lot
not,
of -1s.
I'll be very surprised, and I'll also be very, very disappointed. So I don't know why On felt like he just didn't like Yagao, but he did. Anyway,
you're not Elk.
A lot of damage.
Just like,
Weibo should be able to secure this dragon. They got the first one relatively free. And the only way for BLG in, for me, is this mid lane, right? And Yagao's been able to secure so much priority. And that is going to be their way in. But for now, again, you know, Sapling's going to be a little bit annoying. Not a lot of damage, not that AP variant build, but again, you know, poke from the top side from Jace. Saplings you have to constantly walk into. Now the Heimerdinger towers on top of the dragon. And Light is still not even here yet to actually throw out those piercing arrows. As TheShy is coming, yeah.
Yeah, TP coming in. Bin goes in towards that mid lane as well. Dragon in at 2,000. There's the Nature's Grass. They're going to try and dodge it. But you get caught out on the back side of it. Secured by Weibo. They get themselves up to 2 dragons, and it's a Cloud Soul. Again, very, very powerful for something like a Ken and a Maokai. Things that can just kind of run at you once they pop them. Very, very valuable. So for the moment, Weibo still holding their own, still doing very, very well, but it does feel like we're building to a boiling point. It feels like we're waiting for first items here for BLG before they truly feel comfortable to go for those big skirmishes.
Yeah, exactly. Just biding their time, right? And trying to find what should be a good window. I think first item, right, for everyone. Yagao, Shun, Bin. Once you get that first item, you're going to feel comfortable to actually skirmish, right? Bin, first item really does up the lethality of that Cassante, right? The slow is so oppressive to get away from. And when it comes to especially being like poke champions, you're not going to have the DPS to really deal with it immediately. So for now, once that does come in, BLG, or rather Weibo, will definitely have to be a little bit considerate about that.
We come back in. Pretty much a dead even game in terms of gold, but is it going to be a dead even one here? A little bit of a observer bug there, but a flash away by Xiaohu does mean he keeps himself alive, but no longer having that, and a flash Pop Blossom available here for the side of Yagao could spell this disaster. And speaking of disaster, flash for flash, Crisp not going to be caught out by that one just yet.
Not just yet, but oh my goodness me, forced the flash away. Crisp as well, but they get the tower, so all is well for Weibo. There for what they got, and now Weibo can look towards the Herald in 15 seconds time. Xiaohu's going to need a reset though, and Weiwei just helping out with that. Could force Yagao to also look for another reset himself, but he's got teleport, so he's not really too fussed about that. And by the looks of his inventory, he's sat on a lot of gold. Should have that rocket belt ready for purchase on return to the map.
And they get the tower finally in the bot side, and there is a little bit of a CS lead building up here for the Varus. Again, to be expected, and with first lethalities coming in here for the side of Light and Xiaohu, they are building up. Building up for, you know, again, a big poke war to come out here. If they can get the damage down before the engage, before the fight happens.
Okay, no, Ashin, stop the setup. Elk has a static shiv. Like...
Oh!
What?
I mean, honestly, okay, you know what? Straight up, I like this.
Okay, please tell me the theory here, because
So-
maybe I'm a hater, but what does it do?
So I'm thinking early game
Dude.
gives him a bit more extra control. He knows he's never really going to be kind of like, you know, contested
He's
in terms
out
of that.
of lane! He's no control.
No, but it's not about the
Oh.
lane, though. It's about kind of controlling around the poke objectives. Zon is probably going to end up dying here. As I say that, gets the Guardian and the exhaust enough to keep him going. But anyway, I think it'll be decent enough because I think the biggest thing that you're looking at right now is in terms of, like, you know, when you're setting up around objectives and the pokes just coming in. Like this, you can't really contest against this when Aphelios isn't there, or anyone, to be perfectly honest. So the static shift could be done. I'm trying to be nice, okay? Trying to be nice.
I don't know if I'm being a hater or if this build just objectively kind of sucks. We'll see. Maybe it does a lot of damage for now, and Elk will still be Aphelios after a couple of items, but this Herald goes over to Weibo. They're getting forced off the eye though, Oshin.
Yeah, they are, and there's a flash away by TheShy as well. So they can they collect? I don't know if they can, and yeah, no flash on TheShy means he's not going over that side. No real kind of mobility on their jungler means that, yeah, you get the gold, you get the experience, good job to you, but that's about it. So, again, just really clean, crisp calls coming out here from BLG to contest when they know they can. And now, mid lane, gonna be the clone that's the one to tank up the ultimate of light. And everyone just kind of backs themselves away. So at the end of it all, honestly, BLG kind of come out much better for this.
Yeah, they definitely do. Feel happy with those trades overall, and you know, tier 1 is such a bastion of safety for these kind of poke comps, so feels kind of bad. They look to one-shot on here. God, look at the reset.
How did they
and,
not?
How much HP does he have is the crucial question. So flash Q, smite with the exhaust, the Guardian brings it down
Not
to
even
75
close.
HP.
48, not even close.
Yeah.
Wasn't even single digit.
Yep, pretty easy, man.
It should be. I wonder if there's like an achievement in League, because you know where they brought in achievements recently. I wonder if it's like live with single digit HP.
Oh, the challenges?
Yeah.
I imagine. All right,
Oh,
show me
Yagao.
Xiaohu.
Oh, Xiaohu hasn't got flash, but he does have damage. Yagao thought about it, but honestly, not quite sure if that was. Maybe he could have gone for the big burst. Not quite sure if he knew the exact timing of the flash, so maybe just not feeling as confident. But Dragon now on the field, maybe actually that. You know what? Now we're more hypothesizing. He wanted to make sure he had his flash and all for this fight because he needs to stop Weibo from getting the stacks.
Yeah, I wonder if that's why he was hesitant as well on using the ultimate. Like, even if he does find the pick, maybe he feels like it's actually just higher value to hold on to it, wait for a wombo combo moment, and then you can more guaranteed win out on this objective. Because even if you find that pick, Weibo will still have control of the river, like how they half do now, but they're starting to lose it, and BLG are just kind of brute forcing them out.
They are brute forcing them out. Weiwei does not have flash. Remember, On does pop the quickness. We're taking a lot of poke damage here between this Jace. Oh, nice little ultimate. And they're going to treat putting in the damage here. There's going to be the Slicing Maelstrom. Good Moonlight Vigil into the Pop Blossom means that Wei goes down as well. So you still have a jungler here for the side of BLG. Can they go for the fight afterwards, though? There's a nice shot blast! Predicted where he would go. Xiaohu picks up that kill, and Weibo get control over this bot side.
How much further are they willing to go? It's just Yagao and Shun. Seems like the answer is not that far, and they can just turn around, get the dragon. Actually, Weibo dead. It might mean they just kind of play it out a little patiently, but again, Shun and Yagao going for a reset should just mean they're happy to pick up this Cloud Dragon. So that's 3 to the good. I mean, what an excellent shock blast there from Xiaohu on the very back end of it, but it starts all the way basically from when they almost picked off Xiaohu, but yeah, Weiwei kind of almost caught out. But so tanky with the aftershock, all that burst damage, what little there is between Kasante and Rakan is muted, and that grenade from Chris was huge, and the chain CC on top of then the Shy's ultimate is massive. And at this point I'm wondering, is it too much of an overstep? But Weibo kind of all back away with the exception of Weiwei. So even though they're chasing into Infernum and the Pop Blossom, it's not actually that bad. And Elk, boom, that's tough. You hate to see it.
You do hate to see it sometimes. Yagao taking a bit of a trade into Weiwei right now, who's got the Evan Shroud. Actually, Weiwei kind of being a bit of a connoisseur of the Evan Shroud. Picked it up on the Poppy in the last game as well. Just kind of wants to be a facilitator for his team. Knows he doesn't need to be the carry. Gone are the days of the Maokai doing like 8k damage, I think it was, from Tarzan in one fight. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But coming back into this one, Weibo on Soul Point. Weibo with 1,000 gold lead. Weibo feeling comfortable in this mid game. Remember, they're the ones with the poke comp. They're the ones that are spiking super hard right now with this Jace and Varus on 2 items. And they are the ones that are coming out on top of this one for the moment. And I will say, Elk's not going to have a mythic for a while. He's got himself a vampiric scepter there as well. So he's not really feeling like he's going to be gale forcing out of these anytime soon.
So I'm trying to like think what the thought process is behind the static ship, because if just bear with me, man.
Right, here it is.
Like, okay,
here it is. All right.
Go on, convince me, Ashin.
If he makes it and he comes out with the static shiv build and it's amazing, it's meta. But if it's not, you know, then who cares? He tried something, it didn't work. History very rarely remembers those who do nothing. You know, and you want history to remember your name. So Elk's just trying to be innovative. He's trying to be different. I'm trying really hard to find an angle. I'm trying not to be like, you know, it's, again, look, I think the big thing is it going to be the be all and end all of this game? Probably not. No. I think
it is funny, though. It is funny.
It is very funny. It is very funny.
That's what we can talk about above anything else. Because yeah, like we've kind of been alluding to, right? The compositional differences here, not necessarily as opposed to like a flat-out draft diff or anything like that, but for Weibo, their game plan is just set up around these objectives and force BLG to come into them, and with such limited forms of not necessarily engage, right? Because they've got Rakan Wukong. It's not like that's, you know, terrible, but I think the fact that they don't necessarily have any non-committal engage, right, to force out summoner spells or anything like that, it just makes the job so difficult. It's why I called out for the Ornn, but it's not really something that Bin necessarily would play, right? So now we land in this situation where he's on Cassante, and like I mentioned earlier, he presses his R key, and if he's not in a situation where he's basically isolated in a 1v1, all he's doing is dropping his resists to get one shot by basically the plethora of burst damage that is available to Weibo and their pokes. So it is a bit of a struggle bus. I don't know how else to put it. Again, we are in a meta where team fights are the most important thing. So all it takes is for BLG to just string together a couple of positive moments, and they can always come back into this one. But right now, Weibo are just in firm control, and it just feels so impossible for BLG to actually strip that control back.
I will say, if Static Shiv confirms the kill, 100% worth. Never questioned in my mind ever again. Okay. That's how it is, man. That's just how it is. It's just how you gotta go for it. But obviously, we're memeing it a bit hard right now. We're gonna have a bit of fun with it because not really a lot gonna be happening for the next minute. We're gonna see a lot of dragon control or Baron control being swapped around before the dragon in a minute's time. Stopwatch picked up for TheShy. Very, very key. Also has his rocket belt there as well. So plenty to be kind of working with here, and I actually like the Gargoyle Stone play coming in second here for Bane, recognizing that, look, he needs to just be the one walking forward, getting in people's faces and bringing them towards his team, so he needs to be as tanky as possible.
Yeah, definitely does. Stone plate in now for Bin. The level of tankiness is going to be pretty huge, and that's definitely going to help out with that whole burst thing. Going into all out, right, that shield can be huge, especially once he picks up another health item here. Does mean Bin will have a fair amount of survivability. But I was concerned about before that item breakpoint. Right now, BLG sat on a lot of gold at the minute. 1.5k on Yagao and almost 1,000 on Elk. So expecting them to hopefully reset soon as they are back in base. And I'll say, I feel like for Weibo, they will be happy to go to either side of the map here, right? If BLG go to contest this Cloud Soul, then they just go and burst down the Baron because Heimerdinger can do that very, very easily. And if BLG try to stand on the Baron side, then all they have to be worried about is a potential Baron burn down, but the likelihood of it happening super quick without Weibo being able to actually, you know, engage on this and respond, very, very unlikely. So I feel like BLG in a bit of a catch-22. The best thing they can hope for is potentially catching Weibo off guard and like catching them out as they rotate over to either side of the objectives.
Seems like a bit of a split call for Weibo because they're the ones in control, like you mentioned. They're the ones deciding whether or not you go towards Dragon or towards Baron. They're choosing both, so BLG now maybe going to try and force the play to put Shun here onto the Baron. They've got not great guns, to be honest with you, but they are trying to swap through them as quick as they possibly can. Yagao is in the brush. They TP in. There's going to be the Nature's Grass. They're going to try and delay this one as long as they can. The Varus is not here. On flashed over the back of the pit because he was so afraid of the poke that would hit him. And that means BLG, they're just left with no real choice. They couldn't fight, they couldn't engage, and they had to give up the soul. Yeah,
and if you're wondering why On did that, it's because when you get hit by the Maokai, you actually get True Sight on you very temporarily, so they could have actually spotted him out. And that CC is really, really long if the Maokai travels a fair distance. And even with Merc Treads, we're still worried about the fact that, you know, Light and Xiaohu could very easily just charge up their respective forms of poke. And yeah, BLG falls off the Baron. Soul goes over to Weibo, and they're just toying with BLG at this point. This feels like such a strong 4-5 rotation from Weibo, right? They kind of have just put BLG in a chokehold, where the options are so limited. And again, it's just going to have to come down to a very small lapse in vision from Weibo and like a pick. And that's all BLG can really hope for in this kind of stage of the game.
It becomes so much harder now as well with that Cloud Soul, with having so much movement as well. Think about it, you know, you drop down the ultimate, or even just an ultimate from Xiaohu, just giving up so much more movement speed. TheShy on the Kennen, the Varus pops down the Chain of Corruption and immediately sprints away from you. There's so many little things like that that can do so much. And full support build here for weiwei, gone with that Knight's Vow. And honestly, with the way the game is set up right now, they might just be able to go straight in on top of this Baron if they really wanted to.
Yeah, they definitely could. Again, you know, even though they are a poke comp, they've got a Heimerdinger, and even, you know, Varus's Blight stacks can deal a lot of damage as the Baron starts to get lower and lower, so don't have to feel too afraid about starting this Baron up and being concerned that it's going to take a while. As, you know what, maybe this is what it's for. When Elk has Inferno, right, and he auto-attacks the wave, you know, like the flamethrower wave, then one-shots the casters.
True. Do you know what also I actually realized as well? It will burn, it will kill off the Heimerdinger turrets as well.
Does it make it only deal one auto attack? That could be it. Is that the tech?
Maybe.
Is that the
I haven't seen it. We're gonna keep an eye out though. Maybe that's it. Yeah.
You know, I was about to say if anyone could go into Practice Tool and like check that, but the problem is, Practice Tool is down. So
that's right. It is down. That's a bit unfortunate.
Still,
I know Skin Spotlights is having a lot of unfortunate things with that. He would very much like to change, but you know, it is unfortunate. But hopefully he'll be back.
Maybe does the static shiv?
Is that the tech?
Is that the tech? Do I think it's worth going static shiv just for that? Absolutely not. It still feels pretty terrible. But if that is the tech, then I can appreciate the creativity. As just backwards. But also have the movement speed from a gate. And Bin, how much trouble is he in?
Not a lot. He's still very, very tanky. He hasn't picked up an item since I talked about that Gargoyle Stone play. He's going to flash away as he gets hailed in by all the damage. Hands coming over, trying to grab him for something, but now on in a little bit of trouble. May have to use the quickness, does really not want to use it. We'll get out with just the Shirelia's Battle Song. While this is happening, Yagao is pushing the bot side. They're going to jump onto TheShy. Try burn him down. The Moonlight Vigil goes wide, though. It would have been great as an Inferno and Yagao TPing in. But it's just not to be, and now Weibo can just back themselves away. They don't have to worry about this fight anymore.
Oh, now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. I mean, the thing is, for Weibo right now, right, they are obviously still in a fair amount of control in this game, but the longer that this takes to, you know, achieve a Baron takedown, the closer that we get to Elder spawning up, right? 2.5 minutes, and, you know, Weibo, you should always favor them right now in this kind of game, stay in front of objectives and such, but it still brings about the potential burger flip that is having the Elder on the map, so they really want to have this Baron secured ASAP, whilst it means that it will also overlap the Elder being on the map. Otherwise, I feel like they could actually be in danger of, you know, one misstep then becomes, you know, an even graver cost.
Remember, no flash on the Kennen for the moment. Yagao and Shun just throwing in people to see.
What do you do?
It's difficult.
Like, they have control of the choke. All of a sudden, there's like 3 Heimerdinger towers in one bush. And you just get one shot.
I need to see Elk auto attack with static shiv.
We need to see it.
That's what I need to look at. I'm keeping an eye out. I'm waiting.
We need to know. Like, all right, look, people watching the LPL before a fight breaks out, if you have a friend, go into a custom game and test this and just let me know what the results are. I have to know. Like, that's the only reason why you should have an Bin. Is he in trouble?
He might be. Yagao is around to the side, seeing if he can maybe find a bit of a flash pop blossom, but it's going to be the Nature's Grasp down. Shun takes a huge chunk to his face. And with a minute till that Elder Dragon spawns, it's still Weibo with control. It's still Weibo looking to be aggressive and force BLG off of these plays.
Yeah,
TheShy,
their best too. I'm going to continue to. It wouldn't be the first time TheShy in the last couple of minutes has been a little bit too far ahead. I just want to say, after I said that, like 5 people in chat said, "What's a friend? I'm watching the LPL." Anyway, yes, I still have the chat open. Weibo, they're on this Baron, and again, they're bursting it down really quickly, Ashin.
They got it.
Gonna be late
here we go. Gonna be They're going to try and go for it. Not going to be able to try and steal it away, but can they get the fight afterwards? That is the question. They're going to jump into TheShy, who is caught in the Baron pit. They will get him as a consolation prize. Nothing else, though. Bonk on the head does secure that kill. BLG will just have to reset. While it's happening, though, look at bot lane. The reset of the minions will take down that tower. And that gives them a full amount of kind of pressure they have to deal with. So BLG sending most people back to deal with that, but then in the mid lane, trying to get Elk and Bin around this dragon.
Yeah, they're going to do their best to secure that position there. There's a teleport coming out from Xiaohu onto that mid lane wave. And I feel like Weibo should just be able to retake control. Even though they're 4 members here, TheShy is not a core component of the poke war. So should be alright as... Okay, that's how TheShy ended up in there, in the picture-in-picture. Oh, Elk.
Crisp does throw out the Moonlight Vigil, which does mean Crisp is dead. Okay, this is a much different situation. On gets taken out, though, by Xiaohu. And now the Elder down to half HP. This is going to be a straight-up flip. It's going to be a 4v3 in favor of BLG, but they need to try and find a flank. You can see Yagao cosplaying as the Rakan, looking to try and see if he can find a good boss, and Weiwei's been caught out, and now Weiwei can be destroyed. If it's not a flip, if you don't have a jungler, he needs to survive, but he cannot. Elk will not get killed off by Xiaohu, and now Light and Xiaohu firing from both sides. The Elder down to about 1,500, finally secured. Now do they have the damage? There's a Cyclone putting in the Pop Blossom as well. BLG will not be felled today. All they needed was one opportunity, and they fight right back onto Weibo.
What did we say 2 minutes ago? The longer this takes for Weibo to close out, the closer we get to Elder being on the map. And what do you know? BLG win the most important fight of them all. They're all dead. Weiwei is going to respawn in 10 seconds. That's the closest spawning member. BLG can end the game right here with Elder. They've got a wave.
They've got a wave. They can one-shot the towers as well with the static shiv. I just saw it there a second ago. And that means that Crisp has no way to defend this. I don't know if they can end the game. They're going to have to wait to see if they can try and build off of this small wave, but a lot of very low health bars on these minions. They're trying to defend them. Yagao throws out the decoy. They jump up. They burst them down. Weiwei is dead. Crisp doesn't have a flash and no way to defend this. And BLG will only lose to JDG as they'll continue up to 8-1.
Can you believe it? That game was in the control of Weibo from minute 1 to the final minute, and that was it.